right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's in the hospital, or at least he was, at the Cleveland Clinic. He shared these pictures on his Instagram where apparently he got a new aortic valve put in to go along with his new pulmonary valve. We know that Arnold has had open heart surgery on several different occasions. This one we just didn't know was happening until after the fact. So he put up this post and he said, "Thanks to the team at the Cleveland Clinic, I have a new aortic valve to go along with my pulmonary valve from my last surgery. I feel fantastic, and I've already been walking the streets of Cleveland, enjoying your amazing statues. Thank you to every doctor and nurse on my team." And then, of course, if you scroll through the pictures, he's got pictures just kind of walking around Cleveland after the surgery. So it looks like everything went well, and he's doing just fine. So it's pretty cool to see him walking around Cleveland. I've got family that works in Cleveland and went to school in Cleveland, and also I live in Ohio too, so it's kind of cool to see him come to Ohio to get this surgery done. Now, also, what I thought was kind of cool is Jean-Claude Van Damme on his Facebook page posted a best wishes, and this is actually where I saw this Arnold post first. He says, all my best wishes to the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger for a speedy recovery. Stay strong as always. Thanks to the Cleveland Clinic doctors and nurses. Hashtag JCVD. And Jean-Claude, he is feeling hopeful. So I thought that was cool to see that on Jean-Claude Van Damme's Facebook fan page. From one action hero to another, wishing the other one well. So that is the update on Arnold Schwarzenegger. As far as I know, he's doing just fine right now. So not a serious situation. It looks like he's perfectly fine and healthy and recovering from that surgery. So we are all definitely glad to be hearing that. Now, next up in the news, Larry Wheels. Larry Wheels helped popularize the strict curl challenge. He's got a new challenge for everybody, and this is a pretty interesting one. This is a grip strength challenge, and what he does is he curls a 45-pound plate to test your grip strength. So Larry tried it, and he actually couldn't do it, so this is kind of the new Instagram challenge that everybody is trying. This other guy in Larry's video did it pretty easily. I've got to admit, I tried it, and I definitely couldn't do it. So I've seen a couple videos of people successfully doing the plate grip strength challenge here, and one of them is our strict curl guy, Leonidas Arcana. So he was pretty successful with all the strict curl challenges that Larry Wheels kind of popularized, and then he also did the plate grip challenge. He did that pretty easily as well. But in addition to Leonidas, I saw another guy do it that was pretty interesting. Ilya Golem Yevmachek, the 350-plus pound, 5% nutrition bodybuilder. Some call him the second coming of Rich Piana because they have very similar physiques and they're both covered in tattoos. He was able to do it, and he looked like he did it relatively easily. Now, I was surprised that Larry wasn't able to do this, but I think if you go back and watch Larry's video where he's attempting to curl this plate, I believe the arm he tried it with was the arm that he tweaked during the strict curl. Now, I don't know if he actually sustained any serious injury from that, but I don't know if that arm might be weakened because of that kind of tweak that happened during that strict curl attempt when he was maxing out maybe a week or two ago. So I'm curious to hear in the comment section below if you guys have tried this plate grip challenge and if you were able to do it or not, because I wasn't able to do it, Larry wasn't able to do it, so I'm interested to see how many of you guys were actually able to get that done. Now, next up in the news, I want to talk bodybuilding here. I was pretty impressed by this. Regan Grimes announced today that he is 3 weeks out from the Romania Pro Show. Now, this is interesting because Regan is already qualified for the Olympia on points. He is going to the 2020 Mr. Olympia. But the interesting thing about this is the Romania Pro is a qualifier for next year's Mr. Olympia 2021. And honestly, I have no idea who is doing the Romania show besides Regan. I don't think there's really going to be any bodybuilders that are already in the Olympia lineup doing this show, because it would be like right in the middle of their Olympia prep, and it would just be kind of weird for someone to do that if they were prepping for the Olympia. So Regan, in the middle of his Olympia prep, because he's already in shape, obviously, from competing at the Europa Spain, he's going on to compete in Romania, and I think that's pretty impressive. And probably a smart move, because now that the competitor lists are out for the 2020 Mr. Olympia, and now that the deadline is passed to qualify for this year's Mr. Olympia, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of really dangerous guys in the Romania Pro lineup. So if Regan goes and he takes that win, he's qualified for 2020 and 2021, and he can sit out the rest of the 2020 2021 season and focus on prepping for that specific Olympia. So I'm looking forward to seeing Regan compete in 3 weeks. It looks like we do have one more show that's going to be interesting to watch before the Olympia in December. Now, next up in the news, Hunter Labrada looking insanely impressive for his debut at the Olympia this year after qualifying from his Tampa Pro victory. He's 8 weeks out right now, and he really does look like he could be a top 10 contender at this year's Mr. Olympia. From a completeness standpoint, Hunter is extremely complete. He's got a really good lower body. He's got almost like a Branch Warren look to his quads, and I think he's definitely going to be a threat to this year's top 10, which is an amazing thing to say for somebody that is competing at their first Olympia ever. And I think it makes a nice segue into this Labrada Nutrition ad, because Labrada Nutrition was kind enough to sponsor today's video again. I really appreciate them and their continued support of this channel. Without further ado, here is the Labrada Nutrition commercial. All right, now next up in the news, I want to talk about Keone Pearson a little bit. So Keone, obviously yesterday, he announced his decision not to compete at the 2020 Mr. Olympia, despite the fact that he qualified at the Chicago Pro for the 212 Mr. Olympia. Now, this was an interesting decision. I definitely support and respect that decision, because he says, look, he wants to give his body a break. He's got some mental battles going on right now, some mental struggles he wants to overcome and get through. He's got things going on in his personal life that he wants to just take care of and put those things first and put bodybuilding on the back burner for a minute. And I totally respect that decision, and I think it is a smart decision. And I give him credit for putting it out there. I mean, he doesn't really owe anybody an explanation of saying, look, I've got some demons that I'm dealing with. He could just say, I need to take some time. But he gave us that explanation, and I think it was a really good explanation. Now, this was a polarizing decision. There was a lot of people, obviously, that supported him, myself included, and there were a lot of people that were kind of against the way that he made this announcement. A lot of people were against the fact that he was, in their words, kind of wasting his Olympia qualification. Now, one bodybuilder that I saw speak out about this was Guy Cisternino. He was one of the bigger name guys that I saw take a more negative approach towards the Keone situation. He says in his video he's not specifically calling out Keone, but it kind of was directed at Keone, because Keone is the one that said this yesterday. He said this in his video. He said, the stage will always be there. Keone was saying this as he announced that he will not be competing this year. And he says, look, there's going to be other years. There's going to be other Olympias. I can come back and compete. And now Guy Cisternino took issue with this, and he says the stage will not always be there. And it's kind of a 4-part video on his Instagram there. I'm not going to roll it because he was cussing. There's a lot of F-bombs in that video, but the general gist of it is in the caption right there. Please stop with the stage will always be there. It has to be the worst statement I've seen many athletes this year, and I can explain why. There's a simple truth to it. Y'all can like it or not. This is my beliefs and how I am. Now, Guy's right. He basically says you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed next year. So saying the stage will always be there is not true. You don't know what's going to happen. You might not be able to compete ever again, which is true. But I don't really understand why Guy seems so angry in this video, because Keone, to me, it didn't seem like Keone's reason for skipping the Olympia wasn't the Olympia will always be there. His reason was the personal issues that he wanted to take time away from. His rationalization was, I can always compete next year. I can always compete the following year. I don't think that's Keone necessarily taking the Olympia stage for granted and saying it's going to always be there. I can always come back and compete. I think it's just Keone saying, look, I'm putting my personal issues ahead of the prioritization of the Olympia, and the Olympia is something I can try again in future years. I don't think it was that big of a deal, but a lot of people seem to think he was wasting his invitation. I'm sorry, not invitation, qualification. He earned his spot there. Now, Antoine Vaillant had a totally different approach, and it's kind of interesting because Guy Cisternino was from Keone's former supplement sponsor, and Antoine Vaillant is with Keone's current supplement sponsor, Blackstone Labs versus HD Muscle. So Keone's current supplement sponsor, HD, Antoine is also with them, and Antoine's video, I'm just going to roll Antoine's video because I think he really nailed it as far as defending Keone's decision here. But just so you guys get both sides, there are pro bodybuilders, respectable pro bodybuilders like Guy Cisternino that are kind of against that philosophy. And then you've got guys like Antoine Vaillant that are supportive of Keone's philosophy. So here's what Antoine had to say, and I think he nailed it.
So I've seen some videos of people giving their opinion on why Keone stopped, and other followers and fans of bodybuilding giving him shit for not doing the Olympia. Listen, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. If the guy wants to take a break and come back in 2021 to take care of his health and well-being and just feel good again and do it for the right reasons, I think that's a good reason. You can report on what he said, but you shouldn't make shit up on your opinion, like why he did it, and saying he's like whatever. All right, you don't know what's going on. And you ever heard the phrase, live and let live? It's none of your business. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Do I have to remind you about some tragedies that happen in our world of bodybuilding? Don't you think Andreas Munzer's family would have loved for him to take a little break to focus on his health and well-being? What about Rich Piana, Dasby Carver, Nasser El Sombadi? I don't know all the details, of course, but I'm sure some of them would have benefited from like taking a break from bodybuilding and focus on their health and well-being. Don't you wish like Luke Sendo took a break and really focused on his health, mental health and physical health? Like, think about that for a second. So you're giving the guy shit because he wants to feel better and get better? Like, mind your own business. He has good reason, I'm sure. And let's talk about me for a second. If I didn't take a break from bodybuilding and do all the rehabs I did for my drug addiction, where do you think I would be? I would be fucking dead. Chances are, I would be fucking dead. Or close enough to be barely a human being. Because behind your favorite bodybuilders on Instagram, posing and flexing and stuff and training, lifting heavy shit, they're still human beings. And sometimes we go through shit and we need to take a moment in life to make overcoming that shit a priority. And I think it's perfect that Keone is not doing the Olympia so he can focus on that. So I hope you understand. I hope my video maybe gave you a little different point of view than the other ones out there. So thanks for watching.
Now, the final story that I have for you guys today is some fresh Chris Bumstead and Logan Franklin beef. Now, on Chris Bumstead's latest post, that back posing video that we talked about, I believe in the last news video, under that video, Logan Franklin left a comment. Now, I wish I would have screenshotted more of the replies because at the time I only screenshotted Logan's comment, and I know it was going crazy in the replies, and that might be why if you go to this post now, I went to it, and Logan's comment is gone. So either Logan deleted it, Chris deleted it, or someone got blocked. But Logan said, looks the same as last year with a laughing face. And a ton of people tagged me in this. But as you can see, Logan's comment has 123 replies at the time that I screenshotted this, which was a couple days ago. Now, Logan and Chris's rivalry has been kind of playful. I've never seen it really get too serious. But when I was looking through the comments before, I saw some comments from Ian Vayer. I saw some comments from Chris. Nothing that looked too heated. If you go to the comment section now, again, I couldn't find the Logan comment, so I think it's gone, deleted, or someone got blocked. But you can find Ian still in the comments of that video. Someone commented, Ian Vayer is the only viable opinion in this feed. Too many keyboard warriors at the same time. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Logan Franklin. And Ian says, no one is sleeping on Logan. His very mediocre physique speaks for itself. So that was kind of along the lines of Ian defending his brother-in-law, obviously. But it did get pretty heated between Ian, Logan, and Bumstead. But I think it's going to be an interesting battle at the Olympia between Bumstead and Logan this year. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. We are currently at 980,000 subscribers, 20,000 subscribers away from that million. So every subscriber counts towards getting towards that goal. So please subscribe if you have not subscribed already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.